Hey guys. So I've had a realization recently that nobody in this world really tries their hardest because nobody in this world should try their hardest. So what I mean by that is I'm sure most of us, like probably 99.9% of us have like an issue with using our phone. Like me personally, I spend a lot of screen time on YouTube and such. And I realize this is a big issue of mine, but I'm very into being productive as well. I like doing things. I like working because I just like I guess the pattern and the monotony of it, right? So I realize I feel like I do put a lot of effort into my work, and I mean you could say it's egotistical to think this way, but I do think the effort that I put in is more than the average person my age. Now, when I say that, there's obviously going to be hundreds of thousands of other kids that put way more effort than me into their day. And I feel like the most, measurable way of seeing this is that, there's dudes out there who grinded their way all 4 years of high school and got into like an Ivy League. And those dudes obviously worked way, way harder than me. But I do work hard. I do care about my grades. Right now, I think, honestly, my school doesn't do school rankings, but to give you an idea of my work ethic, right now, I think I'm the class rank number one, but my school doesn't do official rankings, so there's no valedictorian or salutatorian system. But if there was, then I would be valedictorian. And the reason why I say this isn't to brag, but rather to give you an idea that I do like working. Like I, focus on my grades and did things of that nature, went through the motions simply for the sake, because I wanted to, nothing else. Like I didn't really have that much pressure from my parents to do great. I didn't really have that much pressure at all. Matter of fact, I just wanted to do it because I liked doing it. I liked the game of working. To me, it's a game. And by gamifying it, I think that actually made me more successful in whatever I pursued. But I realized, even though in my head I'm working very hard, or I'm working the hardest I can, really I'm not. And what sprouted this idea is because I had a conversation with a few friends of mine where, usually I hide my GPA and I hide my academics and all that because as a sake to more of like a humility practice and keep myself grounded. But of course my friends know, and they know that, I do take school seriously and my GPA is pretty good. And so I was talking to them, and these aren't like my best friends, but I was talking to them and they were like, man, I wish I was as smart as you. And I was like, I think anybody could get straight A's. And that was my take. I was like, I don't think I'm special at all. I think if you worked harder, then every single person could get straight A's if they wanted to. It's just an issue that they're not working hard enough, because getting straight A's and, being that person isn't impossible for anybody. It's not something that you're given at birth. It's something that you earn. And that was my argument. I said, I think, me personally, I have average intelligence. It's just the fact that I work really hard. I don't think I'm above anybody or at birth at all. And they responded saying that, well, I'm sure, what if a person does work as hard as possible and they still don't get straight A's? What if, right? And I didn't really, this was years ago, so I don't really know what I said next. But recently I thought back to that moment and I realized nobody in this world really tries as hard as they can. The reason why I say that is because the moment in your day that you relax, the moment in your day that, you spend time doing something away from your goals, the second that you go on your phone and do something that has no benefit to your growth is the moment where you live in a universe where you didn't try your hardest. Does that make sense? Like the moment I go on my phone and I'm saying this, and when I say this, I think it's a good thing that you don't try your hardest, because I think realistically, if you do try your hardest every single day, that's crazy, But what I'm trying to say is that every single person does not try their hardest. So it's simply a choice of doing so. So that person in that hypothetical where, they quote unquote tried their hardest but still couldn't get the grades that they wanted. I don't think that's true at all, because the way my friend was saying it, she was saying it as if she was that person who did try their hardest. But I completely disagree with that. I don't think you did try your hardest. I'm not saying that as like to give you flack, because I don't think I try my hardest either. I try very hard, but I realize I don't try my hardest because nobody in this world does. Because the day that you take a second to go on your phone to watch YouTube, watch TikTok or whatever, take a break, which is fine. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I'm saying the moment you do that, then that means you didn't try your hardest, right? So rather than taking this as negatively and being like, oh, I don't try that hard, I would rather take it as a positive, because that means there's so much room for you to improve. Like in your mind, I look at my screen time, like spend 6 hours today, go on Instagram and YouTube. Like that's a visual indication. Like those 6 hours I could have dedicated to locking in on whatever I wanted to lock in on, So that's why I say nobody in this world tries their hardest. And even then, it should tell you, like, you don't need to try your hardest to succeed, because nobody in this world really does, except, of course, there's going to be a genius out there. Like, maybe, I don't know if this is true. Like, I'm pretty sure Elon Musk said that, like, he worked for, like, the full day, not, like, for a second. And I'm sure there's going to be a genius or someone that's just different out there that can just flip it like a switch. Or different for everybody. They don't need any stimulus. Or actually, nobody needs stimulus, but they don't want that. Their love is purely for the game of working, and they can work for the entire day. But more of like as a message to you, the viewer, if you're watching this and you want to take your goals like seriously, and you have these goals in mind, right? I think such a great mindset to have is realize like you're not trying hard enough. But don't take that as negative. More as take that as like, okay, like, I can do so much more, right? And of course, again, this isn't to say like don't go on your phone. Well, I mean, you shouldn't, right? But I'm not better than you in that sense either. Like, obviously, everybody knows like don't go on your phone, because I mean, it was true, right? Like, I think the phone was one of our worst inventions in terms of productivity and how we live life. And I'm not saying that, again, like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm above anybody, because I'm not. At the end of the day, I still go on my phone. I still do the things that everybody else does. It's just that I think it's better to at least acknowledge it. Don't take... I don't exactly remember how the saying goes, but I believe it goes, believe in what your priest says, not what he does. Because what your priest says is always going to be right. Or whoever, you trust in, what they say is right. But what they do might not follow what they say. A lot of people don't practice what they preach because it's hard, right? Because I believe everybody in this world really does know what to do. It's just more following it. It's really more about following what they want to believe in. That's the hard part. And yeah, that's the little realization and thought process I had. So, see you guys.